The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland, which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, a potential CP rail strike could have devastating effects for a local business.
New hands-free devices help people with disabilities.
And a new addition to a seniors' home that has residents rocking. Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Mendelena Lewis.
And I'm Joe Bardek. Local businesses are worried about a possible CP rail work stoppage. As Ben Ronald reports, Canadian Pacific workers are voting this week on a final contract offer.
This is the last stop for these red lentils on their journey from the prairies to the Port of Vancouver on the way to Asia. Western Transloading, a business located on Annacis Island, specializes in shipping crops like lentils and peas from rail cars to countries like India and China. But those shipments might come to a standstill if CP rail conductors and engineers vote to strike. And that could be devastating for businesses like this one.
Without rail cars and intermodals, we are dead. I mean, we need to lay people off. So it's a pretty big impact if one of our two railway delivering carriers goes on strike.
Due to geographical limitations, Atkins Company has few options beyond CP, a reality that many Canadian companies face.
Whether you're a mine or in the lumber business or you're in the grain business, you don't have any effective competitive methods of moving product, so your product stops.
For the union, the dispute hinges on overworked employees and the fatigue that comes with long trips. For CP, it says it won't sign a deal that negatively impacts its long-term profitability. As for companies like Western Transloading,
it can mean everything. I mean, CP is shipping approximately 85% of the inbound cargo coming to our facilities.
If CP workers eventually do go on strike, it could make summer 2018 a slow and painful one. Ben Ronald in New Westminster for BCIT Magazine.
Deep Cove has put itself at the forefront of an international movement by banning plastic straws. This switch has been years in the making and, in the end, was spearheaded by local businesses. Our reporter Jackson White talked to some business owners about why they took that pledge.
Megan Kern has been coming early to the Cove almost every day for 14 years. That's how long her locally sourced clothing and decor store Room 6 has been there. But even though her store doesn't sell drinks, she's the driving force behind the area's recent plastic straw ban.
Just learning more about ocean plastics and the sort of global plastic pollution crisis made me feel like we have to start something locally, and I have a good relationship with a lot of the businesses, so we straw shamed them.
Deep Cove's ban makes it the first region in Metro Vancouver to replace plastic straws with paper ones. Bans against plastic and disposable items have often been met with resistance by store owners, but so far this hasn't been the case for the 10 businesses enforcing Deep Cove's ban.
Environmentally, it's great because, you know, we live in a beautiful place and we don't want to be walking around with straws on the floor or straws on the ground or straws in the ocean. You don't realize it, but you do see it when you're out there.
In light of the success with plastic straws, banning more sources of plastic waste could be next. North Vancouver Council has been trying that for years. In fact, there was a similar initiative 2 decades ago.
That program did not go forward as the plastics industry lobbied heavily against it and the Retail Association. But 20 years fast forward, there are absolutely options to consider banning plastic bags. If Whole Foods can do it, all retailers can do it.
Until that happens, Curran says she will continue working to push more anti-plastic initiatives to protect a picturesque environment.
I do feel really strongly about the zero waste sort of initiative, and I think, why not Deep Cove? Like, we're right on the ocean. If not us, then who, right? So Yeah, that's where we want to go. This is just like toe in, first step.
Curran says she hopes the first step will go beyond her store to all of Vancouver and eventually the world. In Deep Cove, Jackson White for BCIT Magazine.
In a world where people depend so much on technology, imagine not being able to use a cell phone, a tablet, or a computer. Our reporter Leah Fitchman has the story of one workshop giving people with disabilities a technical hands up.
It's really that sense of, just happiness you get out of helping somebody.
Curtis Vandenbush is one of the volunteers that are out to make the difference in someone else's life. With this, Lip Sync, a joystick that allows a person with mobility issues to use electronic devices with just their mouth. Volunteers will build 40 lip syncs and offer them for $200, a tenth of the normal price. It may look like it's easy, but to build a lip sync can be quite a challenge. It takes 4 to 5 hours for an average person to put all the 40 pieces together in order to build the lip sync. Organizers of the event say the workshop is also a great opportunity for the volunteers to learn.
A lot of people see this and they say, oh, I don't know if I can do this. This seems really complicated. And at the end they're like, wow, I made this semi-complicated device and now I would be willing to try doing it again.
For some, it's more about taking small pieces and creating big changes for someone in need.
The best part is thinking about where these devices are going and who's going to use them. They actually, when we finish with the devices, they put a number on them and take our name and email address, and they'll tell us who gets the device and who's going to benefit from using it.
Leah Fishman in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Our reporter Leah Fitchman joins us now. So Leah, if someone needs one of these devices, how would they get a hold of one?
That's a good question, Joe. To become a recipient, you will have to sign up at makersmakingchange.com and request a lip sync or any other device that suits your needs. The community will then work with you to find a fit that helps improve your quality of life. Joe?
And do these workshops only happen in BC?
No, they don't. They happen all around Canada and the United States as well, as part of technology events, conferences, and school activities. The idea is to make people engage as much as possible with this cause. Back to you.
Thanks, Leah. Coming up after the break. Cigarettes are okay on campus, but what about marijuana?
And 2 Canadians prepare to ride across the continent for at-risk youth.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Teresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Welcome back. A BCIT student is building a machine to give new life to many plastic items that would otherwise go to waste. Our reporter Emily Vance checked out his plastic shredder that will one day be part of a do-it-yourself recycling facility.
Renato Espinoza is a mechanical engineering student finishing up his second year at BCIT. As part of his final project, he's using his skills to help the environment.
I want to make a little bit of impact there, right? I want to contribute with my knowledge. If maybe it's not too much, this shredder, but it's the beginning of something.
The shredder he's building is based off an open source blueprint by a European company called Precious Plastic. Once plastic is shredded, it can be melted down and used to create new products. The Precious Plastic community has members and machines all over the globe. There are only 2 machines in the Lower Mainland, but there are many people interested in building. Espinoza hopes to connect with like-minded individuals who can process the shredded plastic for use in 3D printers.
Because I don't want it to be at home just sitting on the corner, right? This is a machine and it's meant to be used.
The Recycling Council of BC was intrigued by the idea as long as the finished product could also be recycled.
Thinking of what the life cycle of this item could be and how we could develop it so that, it could be either repaired or remanufactured or reused or, designed in a way that once you've used it, that's not it.
For now, Espinoza will keep working away at his shredder. He aims to finish it this summer. Emily Vance in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
Also on campus, BCIT is proposing new rules for the use of marijuana. With federal legalization coming this summer, students may not be able to partake on the school's campus. My co-anchor Mandalena Lewis digs deeper into this story.
As final exams and stress linger on campus, students partake in a variety of substances for health and for fun. Last month, BCIT released a policy draft on the use of marijuana on campus, which includes an outright ban of the substance. The Student Association collected feedback from its community, which varied in opinion. We spoke to some students on campus to get their take.
If that's what they need to use to get by through all the stress, then absolutely. I mean, I have 7 finals this week.
Did you partake?
Yes.
Partake on campus?
No, not on campus.
Never?
No. Only after an exam, yeah.
I mean, how is this supposed to work? You're going to have stoned students going into class and really being out of the class in mind.
Students don't seem to be affected by the school's recommendations, as some areas on campus have become notorious for green users.
So I think it's definitely not a black and white issue with when legislation is saying one thing and BCIT, I guess, within their right is imposing their own ban.
Nearly 300 students and teachers anonymously replied to the feedback on the proposed ban.
There was students on both sides of the fence, certainly. Some people don't want to be around cannabis on campus and they felt that the policy was in line with their beliefs, and of course there were students that felt that the policy was overbearing.
Based on the results of the survey, the SA recommends holding off on the ban until they can figure out a better policy. I'm Mandalena Lewis with BCIT Magazine.
Doctors have told the BCIT student he needs a new kidney. As our reporter Sierra Simpson found out, he's asking his classmates for help.
23-year-old Dominic Tan may seem like he lives a normal life, but underneath it all, his medical situation has him in search of a kidney donor.
So ideally, they want living donors because living donor kidneys last a lot longer than deceased donor kidneys. And the deceased donor kidney wait list is about 2 to 3 years for my specific blood type. It's either longer or shorter, depending on your blood type.
That's why Dominic thought his best bet may be amongst his own classmates. He posted a letter on the Student Association board in hopes someone may consider getting tested.
So we're just trying to do anything we can to help get the word out and to bring awareness to the situation that Dominic's in and try and help where we can.
Even if someone is selfless enough to want to give a kidney, the chances of them having a similar blood type to him are nil to void.
Dominic was only diagnosed in January.
I went to the clinic at BCIT and they took my blood pressure and it was really high. So they sent me to emergency. That's when I found out that my kidneys were gone. And I would have to take about 6 to 10 pills a day depending on how I felt. I also have to do dialysis for 8 hours a day while I sleep. I'm hooked up to a machine and it does kidney functions.
For now, Dominic's life is on hold. Doctors told him to take a break from school to concentrate on his health until they can get that kidney.
Even if it's not for me, if you're gonna donate a kidney, it'll help someone else out there.
Dominic and his family hope they will find a donor soon so he can get back to living a normal life. Sierra Simpson in Burnaby, BCIT Magazine.
Two Canadians are preparing for the journey of a lifetime as they get set to ride their mountain bikes from Alberta to Mexico. Our reporter Graham Cox finds out more about the reason behind this ride.
On the mountains in North Vancouver, Jeff Livingston and his dog Luna are putting in work. The 31-year-old is preparing to tackle the longest off-road mountain bike trail in the world, riding from Banff to Mexico in under 30 days with his friend Cam McDougall. Livingston calls the ride Shorten the Divide and says the idea sparked from a desire to overcome his personal struggles.
Over the last couple of winters, I've been quite depressed and quite low, and mountain biking has always been a passion of mine. I was just hoping that riding my bike as much as possible, eating healthy and staying fit was going to kind of crack me out of that.
At over 4,300 kilometers and with an elevation gain of over 52,000 meters, Livingston knows that this journey is no small task, and he says there's plenty of challenges that they might face.
We could have bike problems. I shattered my knee 7 years ago. I could have major knee problems. We're just trying to guess as much as we can with preparing and riding and eating healthy and staying as fit as possible to be able to make it to the end.
On top of his own personal growth, Livingston wanted to find a way to give back with his ride.
We got connected through a friend. We got connected with the Take a Hike Foundation and just started reading more and more about the program, and it just seemed like the perfect fit.
Take a Hike is a foundation that helps at-risk youth through high school. Jeff and Cam hope to raise $23 per kilometer of their ride, which would be enough for 10 kids to graduate. Savon Cadian, program support coordinator at Take a Hike, says the value that the two are providing is more than just dollars.
When these guys like Cam and Jeff come in and share their story and share where they're coming from and share that they want to help them and they're rooting for them and they want to help them succeed, and it helps them realize that there's goals that they can reach out for and they can achieve.
Shorten the Divide will kick off in August, and progress of Jeff's journey can be tracked online. Graham Cox in North Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Our reporter Graham Cox joins us now. Graham, what else has been driving Jeff through this process?
Well, Jeff says actually some of his biggest inspiration has come from the youth within the Take a Hike program. Him and Cam have been very engaged with the foundation, taking the kids out for bike rides and sharing their personal stories and life struggles with them. He says that this personal connection has helped him stay really focused during this process, and knowing that his ride will have a positive impact on so many others. Mandalena?
And what else should we know about Shorten the Divide?
Well, once the ride kicks off in August, the guys are going to be posting regular videos and updates to the Shorten the Divide website. The site will serve as a hub where people can check in, stay connected, learn more about the journey, and ultimately donate to the cause. Jeff feels that the more awareness they're able to raise during the ride, the more motivated they're going to become, and the shorter the ride will feel in their minds. Back to you.
Thank you, Graham. Prince Harry is set to wed American actress Meghan Markle this Saturday at Windsor Castle. Around 600 guests are said to be attending. Wedding coverage starts at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Coming up after the break. It's the end of an era as Richmond says goodbye to a beloved tree.
And Granville Island shines a light on local artists.
Standby graphics, ready, camera one.
If you want to experience the fast-paced world of news,
today on BCIT Magazine, striking,
make magic on a movie set,
frame,
and action,
or bring your creative ideas to life, BCIT's hands-on training will get you started. BCIT Television and Video Production. Your possibilities start here.
I chose BCIT because I know that all the programs are very hands-on. We have our own radio station. Like it's one of the best programs that I've ever heard of.
I am starting a job on Monday, so confidence is high.
Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be this fun.
If your invitation to our wedding got lost in the mail, here are a few other events that you can do in or around Vancouver this weekend.
If you feel like being regal this weekend, check out the Royal Victorian Party happening at the historic Stewart Farm Sunday, May 20th. Enjoy live dancing, cake, and a chance to meet my future great-great-great-great-grandmother-in-law.
If you're looking for an event that my grandmother would have appreciated in her youth, check out the Fort Langley 96th Annual May Day Parade. Events include May pole dancing, mini golf, and even rides for children.
Do you like fancy flowers or fancy cars? Well, this weekend you don't have to choose at the All-British Car Show happening at Van Dusen Gardens Saturday, May 19th. They'll have everything from Jaguars to geraniums.
And that is all for this special Royal Community Calendar.
Have a great long weekend.
Creative Vancouver is hosting an event called Spotlight on Granville. It's part of a 25-day event that connects craft makers to the public. My co-anchor Joe Bartek has more.
Broom making is an ancient art that has been carried down for many generations.
It's something that both my sister and I had grown up with. So we learned from our parents how to make brooms and decided we wanted to start a company here on Granville Island.
Schweigert says it's important to support local artisans, and the satisfaction that comes from making the art is what makes it all worthwhile.
I think people are more and more becoming interested in handmade items, so it's definitely something I think people are interested in seeing and learning about.
Spotlight on Granville Island is a self-guided tour put on by an organization called Crafted Vancouver. Its goal is to support the creativity from local artists in an effort to embrace handmade local products. Here, the public can go behind the scenes to see how artists create their craft. It provides a glimpse into an artist's mindset.
If you're an artist or a creator guy, you have to show the other ones, look, you can take your own way, you can make your own way, and that's something that is not happening these days, no?
Mendez was once a criminal lawyer, but turned to art when he realized that money wasn't enough to satisfy him.
We are all becoming the army of consumption, no? So they don't care what's your name anymore. They care what's your credit card number.
Spotlight on Granville runs until the shops close tonight. Joe Bartek on Granville Island for BCIT Magazine. In Richmond, locals are losing a popular convenience store known for a special summery treat. Our reporter Michael Panes has the scoop about Screamers.
With ice cream or no ice cream?
I can get
ice cream, it's very good.
Abbas Kataw, better known to his loyal customers as Danny, is retiring, closing down his store after 20 years. But what makes Danny's store so special? Screamers.
Ice cream and a Slurpee, how can you go wrong? It's like a drinkable creamsicle.
But now, after 20 years of serving his concoction, Danny is looking forward to what's next for him and his family.
I need time for myself. I work 7 days. I come downstairs 4:30 in the morning, and I start my work. And it's 7 days. We used to close at 10. Now we burnt out, so we're closing at 7. So, I have to take care of my health. I haven't spent a childhood with my boys. And now God has given me a daughter who's 7-year-old. I would love to spend time with her.
The corner store became an important hub of the neighborhood, but even Danny's family says it's the right time for a break.
Ever since I was about 5-6 years old, we've had this place. I've seen my dad work every single day. I would come home from school and he'd be helping customers.
The Screamer is a signature drink in Richmond, a summer tradition for the last few generations.
I remember when my kids were small too. This is a good treat. It's not too sweet and it's nice and refreshing.
And after all these years, Danny is just thankful for his loyal customers.
My favorite part is the community has always been supported, and even they have moved out. They come from Victoria, they come from Kelowna, Kamloops, whenever they are on weekend. Maple Ridge, you name it, Chilliwack, Seattle. It's just very faithful customers I have, and the neighborhood is amazing. It's been a very, very, very amazing joyride for me.
Danny and his Screamers are gone for good on June 17th. Michael Panis in Richmond for BCIT Magazine.
Burnaby's Dania Seniors Home has installed some new equipment to help boost the morale of its residents. Catherine Garrett went to investigate.
Dania home tenants were treated to something special recently, a wheelchair swing. The swing has a spot for a wheelchair and a bench for those without one. Carol Waddell, a resident of the Dania home, says that the swing brings back old but fond memories.
Oh, I feel like a little girl again. Yes, it's a lovely, wonderful thing. A little bit happier, I think.
The swing, aptly named the Whisper Glide, offers its users a little blast from the past and other benefits too.
It also reduces anxiety for residents that have dementia and agitation. The swinging motion is very soothing. And also with Parkinson's, residents with Parkinson's, it can help with the tremors. The soothing motion, rocking motion is very beneficial.
Before he took the swing for a test drive, Bob Clough wasn't sure what to expect.
A little queasy, but that's fun.
The only problem that this swing has caused at Dania home is overcrowding. Residents sometimes refuse to get off. Catherine Garrett in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
The ESPY Awards announced this year's winners of the Arthur Ashe Courage Award. Olympic gold medalist Ali Raceman and dozens of other women will accept the award for speaking out against sexual abuser Larry Nassar. The show will take place July 18th in Los Angeles.
German police were called to a residence after complaints about a domestic disturbance. Upon arrival, they found a man arguing with a parrot. Neighbors say they heard loud shouting next door and decided to call the police. The 22-year-old man said he was annoyed by the pet, which belongs to his girlfriend. If you have any questions regarding the show, you can contact us at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitbroadcastnews.ca.
That's it for this week's BCIT Magazine. I'm Joe Bardak.
And I'm Mendelena Lewis. We now leave you with a sunny view of Deep Cove in North Vancouver. Thanks for watching.